That's good, eh? I learned something. I've been doing this a long time. My name's Brad. I'm with Jason. We hang out every day. Renewable Energy at Plum Hollow. We've been doing this stuff for 16 years in the Greater Kingston area, selling, installing all of the stuff you've seen tonight, except for geothermal. And I'm proud to say that I'm the sixth generation in this area to burn biomass to heat my house. I'm one of the many Leonards from the Hartington area. So the other side of my family is the oil company. So I'm kind of the green sheep of the family, if you want to put it that way. And we are really lucky. In June, we had Dr. David Suzuki come to the store and flick the switch on our grid tie wind turbine, solar array, and so that was a pretty exciting time for us a little while ago. I am a member or board of directors with Rob on Switch, so I'm really happy to see everyone here. So I'm going to talk about biomass, and one side of our company, we do the alternative energy side. The other side is heating your home with wood stoves and pellet stoves. And I want to start by just trying to get a definition out there, because biomass is this big word that's starting to emerge everywhere. And I found this definition. I thought it was a really easy definition that we could all grab onto. And when I say I'm the sixth generation to burn biomass, what I mean is good old-fashioned wood, right? Who here burns wood at home? Put up your hand. Look at that, eh? I shouldn't even be up here. You guys know more than I do. And what I'd like to talk about with this is, you know, our name is renewable energy, right? So we do all this renewable stuff at the store. And this is where wood and biomass come in. So let's go back to grade 9 science class, okay? Go back in your minds. Remember when a tree grows? Remember what happens? That big P word, photosynthesis, happens, and it collects carbon. So when that tree rots, like we see on this side of the circle, we have decomposition, and that carbon is then released back in the atmosphere. It's a very natural process. So if we take that same tree and we then burn it as firewood or pelletize it and burn it, plant matter, we release that exact same carbon back in the atmosphere. So think of it, tree grows, it dies, it releases carbon over a long period of time. Tree grows, we cut it down when it gets old, we burn it, it releases the same carbon back in the atmosphere. When we take oil or natural gas from the ground and we introduce it and burn it into the atmosphere, that natural gas doesn't magically go back into the ground. So that's where we like to talk about wood as a renewable energy resource. So when we're heating with biomass or wood, there are some caveats to it. We want to make sure that we are installing the system safely and properly, right? If we go back to the 70s and the off-oil program, we didn't know the things we know now. A lot of stoves were put in improperly and houses burnt down. That is not the case anymore. In 1983, we got recognized in the building code, and we have the strictest test standards in the world in Canada. Our chimney standard in Canada is adapted by most countries because it's so strict. And it is designed to not have that happen again. So we have to make sure it's installed properly. And you will see that most reputable companies will have WET certified technicians. I like to put a little plug in for WET because I sit on the national board. And we train people to install these systems properly into your home. We must make sure the fuel is harvested sustainably. We will see in Eastern Ontario that most of us do that. My family woodlot, which now belongs to my cousin who runs the family farm, has heated my family's for 6 generations, and it's still the same 10 acres of wood. So this is not something abnormal. This is going in, cutting out the dead, and using it, you know, so allowing to, you know, we're not clear cutting here. That's what happens when big companies get involved. We're harvesting sustainably. And most people do that because if they're using fuel wood as a income for the family, they recognize that. You know, it's like composting. I never knew that people didn't compost because I grew up on the back end of the farm, and that's just what you did. So we've been doing that for decades. And the fuel must be burnt properly with very little visible smoke. And we do that in wood stoves, and I'm going to show pellet stoves in a second, or biomass stoves. These stoves have been around since the mid-'80s, so this isn't new, you know, brand new technology. The thing is that wood stoves last a long time, so we don't think about changing them out. We have a cook stove at our camp that was built in 1928. It has not been replaced yet. These are not things that we throw away like our computer. So what we get in these new advanced combustion stoves is we burn a third less wood for the same amount of heat, which is great on your back if you cut wood. Put it in there. It makes it a lot easier. We get longer burn times. We're burning the smoke off before it hits the flue. That's really important. And I love this. There was a customer of ours who happens to be a professor at Queen's, and he recently did a paper on this, and it showed that it's actually less than 5 acres, but 5 acres of properly harvested wood can support your family forever. There's lots of 5 acres of wood out there. So, when we're talking about that pie and that 60% approximately or 50% of heating, we can do that with 5 acres